and then you can just airdrop it and I'll be able to.
There you go.
Coolio.
Cool. 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, let's do short and snappy, and we can meander that.
All right, cool. Good to go. Welcome, season 3, episode DOS, I believe, episode 2.
Yeah.
At the home of the Hammers.
Yeah, I am today. Came in early. We had a long trip at the weekend, so I came in early to get my life admin sorted and ducks in a row for the week that's ahead.
And what happened at the weekend?
Oh, we just had our second win of the league. So we had a win against Leicester last week, and then we beat Man City yesterday. So yeah, delighted for the girls. Delighted that there's a build. There's lots of firsts. Like our win last weekend was the first home win. 2 wins in like the September-October period is way better than the position we were in last year. Not position on the table, but mentality-wise. So yeah. Delighted.
And not only that, but you've beaten one of the best teams in Women's Super League.
Yeah. And I think for some of the players, you could see them, even though, I mean, the facilities are just absolutely incredible. They're incredible here as well, but like there was just a different level.
Disneyland, isn't it? It's Disneyland.
It is actually, yeah, it is. And we'd been at Brighton's ground then during the off season as well. And that was fantastic. And I was just like, wow, some of these places are amazing. So we were on the academy ground yesterday and the women's ground, and it was just a beautiful day. It was just a beautiful day. The sun was shining. It rained for a little bit, but they had the first 10 minutes a little bit of a whoa, this is a big name team, these are big name players, and then they got into their groove and there was no looking back. So yeah, it's great connectivity on the pitch.
It makes the 4-hour journey home a lot easier, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh, yes, it does. We were about 11 o'clock last night coming home. So but there was good spirits and good conversation going, and lots of plans and excitement leading into Birmingham this weekend. So yeah,
amazing. Well done.
Oh, thank you very much. How's life been going down in Haywards Heath?
It's okay. I missed Saturday's game as I was on my stag do, which I think was probably just about okay to miss the game of football for.
Yes.
Although I'm missing one next Saturday for the wedding, which is all right. Yes. And so following on social media is quite tricky, and non-league semi-pro football, it's a bit hit and miss with what's going on. But with 1-0 down after 2 minutes was not the strongest of starts. But we won 5-2, so that was good. We are currently top of the league, unbeaten. So things are ticking on all right. We've got a few things to sort, as always, if we want to kind of keep moving forwards and get to the next stage. But okay, the player group is good. We're coming together. A couple of new players started. So yeah, we're ticking along all right.
Oh, wicked. Do you, without putting you on the spot too much, have a couple of things on the radar as to what the turning point in that game was from a tricky start into a great win?
I don't know yet because I haven't spoken to the players. But it seemed like pitch was a bit naff. Took them a while to get to grips with it. Sorted it out. Yeah. Steamrolled on from there. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Brilliant. I'll be interested next week. Maybe we could unpick that because again, we talk a lot about in our sessions in season 2 about momentum in training. So I'm wondering how, even though there's a few different definitions that go quite broad on momentum within a game from a stats point of view, I think it'll be interesting to look at the impact, in the game of the players and their unity, the sideline, the audience, or actually is it, how much of it is the opposition in a football sense. So that would be cool. But there's something based on our new kind of spotlight onto different social media topics. You mentioned there about top of the table, and actually I think West Ham are 4th after yesterday, but I'll have to review that. Oh, I know, yeah. I saw a really good post during the week, and it's Ralph Rangnick. Am I pronouncing that right? Rangnick, sorry. And he talked about some adjustments that have been made. Now, the caption on the Twitter feed or the Twitter post was this. And what it said, as you can see there, was taking away misunderstanding of winning. And what they did was they removed to his frustration, they removed score lines and they've removed table placings and positions. And he was saying that, would you have had some of the perceived best players around the world, or the top 10, 12 players around the world, would they have continued playing if we'd have removed that much competition? And it kind of just brought me a little bit to the side. And I thought, is this kind of typical where we had different key words around like culture and autonomy, where people didn't fully understand what they were and went to the far end? Or as I spoke to coaches, years ago, when games-based approach or games for understanding came in, and they were just going to games, so they weren't actually doing anything. They were just saying, well, we want to give more autonomy, so here's ball, or here's this, or you design your practice. And I was at the other end, and athletes or people or players didn't know how to adjust to that. So the one thing there that I'll just zoom in on, and then we can come back out and see what your thoughts are, was inherited talent and a learning environment with experience multiplied by mentality. And he talks about mentality as the multiplying effect. And I took that he was linking that mentality to the competitive edges that you're getting from a scoreline, from the winning and the losing. So there was lots in it, and it's only a snippet, but thoughts on some of that yourself?
Yeah, so I think there's a number of things to extract from it, really. So at what age are we saying that this is or isn't relevant and a thing? So I did a lot of research in a previous life around this kind of thing, and I think there's a distinction between ages as you travel and winning becomes more important, and also there's a distinction between language, and I think you're right, you kind of picked up on some of that. There's a huge difference between competition and being competitive. Big difference. So I think kids, regardless of age, generally are competitive. Mm-hmm. So if I play pool against my son, he wants to win and he sulks if he loses. He's competitive. But there's a difference between competition and competitive, because the competition for me is the structure, the league format that plays within. Now, I think if a kid starts playing in a competition in September, and typically because we impose the adult model onto kids, if they start in September and that finishes in April, that's an 8-month-long season for kids. Kids don't know what they're doing next week. They haven't got a cue. They can't think ahead like that.
Yeah.
Certainly through primary age group. So I think there's, through the primary age, certainly that kind of 7 to 10 bit, 7 to 11, where I did loads and loads of research into focus groups across the country, boys, girls, top of the league, bottom of the league, professional game, grassroots game, rural, urban, didn't matter. The factors that drove kids at the younger age groups were intrinsic ones. I love the game. I love being with my mates. Trying my hardest is more important than winning. Came through as the driver from all kids, regardless of where they were. Trying their hardest is more important than winning. And then when I did a load of interviews with under 21 England internationals, they were saying they didn't start taking the game seriously until they were 14, 15. So what I would say is, from my experiences of talking to people and a lot of research, that's Ralph's adult lens on the world. It's definitely not my experiences of research speaking to kids across the whole game. Definitely not.
Brilliant. And that's amazing insight. The extra bits I'm thinking about are the other sports. Then I think you can transfer across even individual sports, or where there maybe more of an individual element and it's not an invasion sport, that actually there can be that level of adaptation and that mindful creativity around being competitive within a space, and how we reward it and what we measure success as we've spoken about before. So that's really interesting. I'd be keen to hear what people think about from different sports who are listening, and how they kind of create that in their space, or how they understand it and what lens they're looking through. It's very thought-provoking.
I think I've said on here before, I remember a game when we played Southampton away, under 10s, and no league table, no 3 points, didn't have anything at that stage, at that age group. And I was at Premier League Academy at the time. We were 3-2 up going into the last quarter, and we lost 4-3. 3 of the kids come off the pitch crying, not from pressure from us, not from league table, 3 points, because they wanted to do well and they're competitive. But the difference was, like 5 minutes after the game, they were playing behind the under 14 pitch where they'd found an empty goal and a bit of like happy as Larry. You couldn't believe that they were just crying like 10 minutes before that. Couldn't care less. And it's us, I think, as adults that have got to work out that I can't let that ruin my weekend, because I can't define success by whether or not the kids win or lose.
Oh, it's amazing. What a statement. And I think you've hit the nail there around, I mean, I know, again, we've mentioned and we can continue to mention the impact that parents have in the car journey, or after the game, the words they use, or after, say, somebody's picking someone up from an academy session, or they've just had a competition somewhere and the parents have traveled to support them or drop them off or be there. It's like being very mindful of the language that you're using and how you're supporting and how they perceive that event to be. Is winning the only option within there? Or is a PB celebrated? Or if it's in try, is there one component that you've been working on, maybe in swimming, that you improved on, and then, you know, the others will come along. So it's kind of that lens of, I love that, of the strength side of things and the building on what you're good at and the confidence side. But then allowing people to be disappointed. I love that you mentioned that there's a few tears. And I wonder what the perception at the time from some people was of, someone's done something wrong, someone's upset my child, or that they could actually manage, if you gave them a bit of space to kind of navigate those thoughts, and then kind of give them another option to, do you want to play over there? We've got an extra 15 minutes or whatever. So yeah, really, really interesting.
And I think that's where we kick into human development mode of, right, so you're showing me that you're upset. Tell me about that feeling. Where's it come from? What's upset you? How does it make you feel? Well, I don't like it. It makes me feel sad. And typically, kids of the younger age won't have enough vocab to be able to use many different adjectives in order to explain what that emotion might look like. But what we can do is start to normalize it and say, emotions, whatever emotions, they're all relevant and have an important place to play. None are better or worse. But then how do we manage ourselves back into happy or joyful or energetic or whatever? How do you move yourself back from one place to another, and helping kids understand that, it's important.
Well, and adults, like, I mean, we had that discussion a couple of weeks ago here in one of our mindfulness sessions, and we started with gratitude, and it meandered off in a number of different directions, and that's one of the areas that we came to. Can we be okay with how we're feeling? Can we identify what those feelings are, not suppress them or compartment them, and either through their own self-navigation or peer support, or a number of different areas we can scaffold the support to help them express that and be okay with it, and obviously working with the coaching staff as well.
Do you know who's the best at this? Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. What a way to finish. What a way to finish.
Like my mind was blown. My hair was huge. I'm late to Ted.
I nearly dropped my phone today when I saw on Twitter that you were like, oh, Ted Lasso. I was like, he must be pulling my leg here. Text you, I'm like, Ted Lasso.
And he was the master. I don't know why I'm waving a pen. I'm excited. So and I'm only 3 episodes in, so no spoilers. So when he said to Jamie Tart, I think his name is, the one who's a bit of an arse, and he said, who's the best animal, or what's the most genius animal, whatever he said, and he said it's the goldfish, because within 10 seconds their life has moved on to something different. It's golden,
and it's cheese fest as well. Like, I think I'm not spoiling here, I think it's in one of the first episodes where he's meeting everybody. And he's meeting, say, the groundsman, he's meeting the boss, he's meeting all these, and he's coming in with the smile on his face, and he's bringing the brownie, and then he's going, and what do you think? And he's like, me, you want me to input? You want me? And he goes, well, how are you today? What's going on? What do you think of this? And it's just like, that's in it. It's an exaggerated form, but, and I think I'm spoiling here either, but the sign over his door in his office, the believe sign. I mean, when I first saw that, I was like, oh, cheese, but I remembered it. And it brought me back to some times where you can have that kind of, you can have that nice tipping point where you're youthful again, and you're having a little bit of I genuinely believe, and when you cross in this room, this is what we want to do, and et cetera, et cetera. But there's some really good examples of relationships. So I did have a session with Hannah Shaw, who was on our Basketball England coach development program. Actually, she loves Ted passionately, but as a person and a show, I think. And she said, listen, I'd be interested in hosting an event with you. So we did have, and we circled that whole session around relationships, because he's really good at, connecting, isn't he? So maybe we should have a Ted Lasso drop-in line every time we start one of these
I think so.
episodes.
I think so. I am going to absolutely binge on these now.
Oh, good. Well, I can't wait for next week. I won't spoil anymore, but what a great way to finish. So you got at Coach Convo, if you have your favorite TED quote that you'd like to drop us, or any opinions on today's session around success measures or winning and competitive and competition and being competitive, loads to explore there. coachconversation@gmail.com, that's our email. Always love to have a great conversation and bring up some topics live in one of our sessions. I mentioned gratitude, and I'd love to know, going either back a week or going forward, is there something that you mentioned your wedding, something that you're grateful for last week, or something that you're hopeful for this week?
So we do this every day in this house. So every night before we go to bed, me, the wife and my son will come together and we talk about 3 things that we've been grateful for each day. And I think one of the things that I was grateful for from last week was seeing kids be playful and exploring. And at 2 moments last week, one where one of the kids, he just happened to be my son, but it could have been any of them, was playing goal in the under-8s game. And he recognized that everybody had attacked down one side, so he got the ball and he literally threw it out and ran as a goalkeeper in his full goalkeeper kit from one end to the other and scored. And I just loved just the playfulness of it. But also at training, when one of the under-8s came up to me and said, "Nick, do you want to hear me burp?" And I was, and even Sue's talking to me, and literally I was like, "Absolutely do." And he was like, "Wait, let me go and get some water." That's the stuff.
Brilliant.
That I'm absolutely grateful for, being able to coach and be around playful, young, creative kids that, we're just trying to create an environment to help them grow as people. And the fact that he can, go off and do, I love that. What about you?
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. It was this morning. So I've been working long hours, getting my feet under the table in the new job, and some of those are early starts and away for the weekend. So I had a little bit of a later start this morning. So we got up and went for a walk together. So nice. Myself, Coco, 4-legged furball, and off we went, and it was beautiful. The sun was shining. We're in the park, going for a walk, just not work talk, just setting ourselves up for the day and the rest of the week. So I was really grateful to have that time and to be mindful within it. So
just being,
exactly. So join us next week, season 3, episode 3. Have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your week, Mr. Lebet. We have some exciting things coming on. Can't wait to hear how the wedding went, and see you soon.
Bye.